Hello, everybody. Taylor here. So today we're going to be checking out Captain of Industry here. Um, we're we're still on update 3, version 0.7.9 alpha here. So we're I know that update 4 is coming out here in a few weeks. I think around March 9th is what I had saw from reading up on it. But so I've been playing a game kind of off camera here, but we're just gonna start a new game for the recordings here. So let's go into new game. All right. So my other playthrough is on New Haven here. So I started down here in location 1, just getting started. I've played a couple iterations already, but never really getting past mid game. I'd say just to learn the mechanics, learn some of the basics. But for my off-camera playthrough, I'm on New Haven. For the on-camera playthrough, though, because I think it'll be fun with some of the later game trains, is to do Dragon Tail here. So I'm thinking for the recordings, I'm gonna do this map. We're gonna go on Captain. Sailor is really good if you're starting out. As you can see, if I click Sailor here, over in the mechanics, it does give you some boosts that you wouldn't otherwise have. So Sailor is really good if you're starting to learn the game, but I think I'm pretty good past that point. So we're just gonna go with Captain here, which doesn't enable any of the other special mechanics here. All right, so customization, fresh land, Sunny Haven. Sunny Haven sounds good. Also, if you want to have the same map layout when we start exploring with the ship, as me, you can use this seed right here. I'm just going to keep it like this. So if you want, you can pause and jot that seed down. But let's go ahead and get started. So it does show you some tips down here to kind of help you out as well, if you're just starting off. It doesn't cycle through them very quickly, and typically I'll find that the game's normally done loading before I'm able to read 2 or 3 of them. But you will get the occasional tips down here. Alrighty, so here we are, all loaded up. Starting off, if you're new to the game, there's a lot of stuff going on screen here. It can be a bit overwhelming. First and foremost, the game does not start paused, so make sure you do that, especially if you want to spend some time reading through the message center here, which is kind of like your tutorial section, or not tutorial section, but it's kind of like your index or your glossary. It goes through things like how to lay out tree planting zones, how to, the importance of maintenance, the importance of your diesel production here. So it goes through all of that. I'm not going to go through it. You're more than welcome to go through it on your own. I'll be explaining as we go, so I'll close out of this. All right, so starting up here in the left-hand corner, you have your goals button. The goals is just the game's tutorial to kind of help you through some of the initial build up. Excuse me. So we're gonna leave those, and we're gonna follow along mostly with this. There's some pieces that I want to get started sooner than they pop up here in the goals. So we'll put down some stuff kind of ahead of some of the goals I've found. So your messages here, you'll occasionally get messages up in here, so you'll see those. You can click this little dismiss all button if you want to dismiss everything that's in there. Each window has a little pin icon here too, so it'll keep it pinned if you just want to leave it open. This is for your alerts. So these are more important than messages. These are like running low on a particular resource, or a building isn't working for whatever reason. This will show any completed research that you've done. And then that's important because in the research tree here, which is fairly large. You can queue up multiple. So I think our goal wants us to start. No, not yet. But I do know it wants us to start working on construction and maintenance. So I'll show you here. So you can click on one. You can start research here. Okay, easy, right? If you want to say go to vehicles and mining, or let's make a beeline for basic diesel, you can hit add to queue and it'll add everything else leading up to that. So you can go all the way to the end of the game and be like, I want plastic, for example. Well, you can't yet because it's locked. But if it's unlocked, like glass making, I could click on this, add to queue, and it'll add all the precursors that lead up to it. So that's pretty neat. So that's the research. We can't do research yet because we don't have a lab available, but we'll get there. All right. So like I said, we're working on maintenance, working on basic diesel. We might. I think it wants us to do the trading dock, but we'll come back here once the goals tell us to. All right. So right here is your Unity. So your Unity is produced from your population. Think of it as extra work that your population is willing to do for you. So you can use your Unity to do like quick build things. You can use your Unity to quickly empty out a building, so on and so forth. So that's what that's useful for. So here you'll see how much Unity you have out of the maximum there in the tooltip. And then off to the right here, as you can see down there by the every 60 seconds, we're producing 0 Unity at the moment. As we get more people, that'll go up. You can see down here what's producing or consuming your Unity. Here, same thing with the level of health, and same thing with the growth of your people. So speaking of growth, population growth is here. So it shows you how much you're getting every minute and how much you've recently gained. When we get into electricity, that'll be shown here. And each one of these things you can click on to bring up a window that shows you more about that particular resource. All right, so here's the amount of food we have left here for our meager population right now living out of shipping containers. I think it's interesting how they have legitimate doors on the shipping containers. I would think they would just be like cardboard, or not cardboard, plywood doors or something at this rudimentary state. But you can see we've got 63 months of food left, and that's all sitting right here in the food market. So once we get farms up and working, we'll be able to pipe the food into here to help solidify our food situation. Already kind of discussed health, but health sits right here. You don't typically want that to go negative because your health is a good indicator, as it says here. That's going to determine how much Unity you're getting, but also it's going to affect your growth as well. So here's the total population that we currently have, and here's how much these two housing units put together can hold. Here's the number of, so out of that 90 population, 78 people are considered workers or are able to work in our industrial complex. And then here is the amount of free housing. So 90 minus the 160 equals 70. And then here is the vehicles that we have floating around. So that counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That counts all these vehicles right here. And of those vehicles, how many workers are being used up for those vehicles. Right now it says stable, and it shows like little Z's. So they're pretty idle right now. This will change from white to yellow to orange, I believe, if I remember correctly. Sorry, orange and red. It'll change. Orange is they're pretty busy. Not really a concern. Red is they're overburdened. You should probably build some more trucks or improve your logistics to cut down on the amount of trucks that are having to roam around. This is your fleet status, and also opens the world map. So eventually, once we get the shipyard repaired here, we'll be able to send our ship out to explore these spots. All right, so here is the current date in the game. It starts off at 1st of January 0001, and then as the years go by, that just increments that. Shows you your weather. This is just the in-game menu. Here's your speed controls here. And then down here on the left, you've got your kind of hotkeys and your buttons to do various things. And you can see here with the remove debris button, it's using Unity to do that. So typically speaking, anything that's not taking advantage of your trucks or that are free workers and the population, you're basically telling them like, hey, go out and clear this stuff. Like walk out there, go out and clear it. And that consumes Unity, so to speak. Here's the demolish button, demolish buildings. You can see here we can demolish the food mart, and it'll get us back 20 construction parts if we wanted to. This button down here is the layers. So it shows you where all the resources are. It shows you where all your zones are, what you've marked for tree harvesting and mining, and all that. So if you are confused by some of the colors, because there are some colors that are kind of close, you can just click on it, and it'll hide it and show it. So that's easy. All right. And then before I get into the build menus down here, over here on the right hand side, you've got your different pinned resources. You can reorder these by clicking and dragging them. And also right here, this will show you your different statistics. So you can cycle through all of these, whatever statistics you want to look at. And here is where, if you click on one of these, it'll bring you right to this, but here is where you select which things are pinned. So say I don't want wood anymore, I can just unpin it and it no longer shows over here, but I do want that for right now. We're actually going to move diesel up to the top because that's more important at this stage in the game. Coal's pretty important right now too. We're going to be starting off with that. This button right here is really handy. This is the codex. It's a little mixing bowl here. This shows you every component or every product in the game, along with all the structures in the game that you currently have unlocked. So you can click on one of these and you can see, like, molten iron, for example, is produced in the blast furnace here, and it's consumed in the metal caster. Everything that's grayed out you have yet to unlock, but it does let you know later on, hey, this is what's going to be producing it, so you might want to plan ahead a little bit to see, like rubber, for example, is only ever used in the various assemblers to make electronics, for example. It can be produced several ways, but it's only ever used to make electronics. So that kind of gives you an idea. If you're anywhere else in the game, and like, for example, if you're here or you see it in a building, see the product in a building, you can right click on it and it'll take you straight to the codex. So that's a nice little shortcut. All right, so down here is your build menu. So sort of, the message center's down here, the world map's down here, but all of these other tools are kind of like a build menu. They have buildings in them. They also have like the designations in there too, but they'll have buildings in them as well. Each thing with like a little yellow dot means it's new. So if you want to get rid of that, you just have to click on it like you're going to place it, and then just right click to deselect, and it'll make that go away. So like that, right? But we're going to go ahead. With all that being said, we're going to go ahead and follow the goals over here. So, excuse me, we're going to get a coal maker set up. So let's go ahead and place that. And connect it to a smokestack. So smokestack's over here. So smokestack connects up right there. So you can see on the item, inputs are a green arrow, outputs are a red arrow, and you can set up pipes between this if you wanted to connect multiple of these to one smokestack. So you can set up pipes like that. Or really anything that takes a transport belt or pipe. If you want a quick way to do it without having to go to the transports menu every time, as long as you're in a menu where the arrow is showing, you can just click on the arrow and it'll go ahead and select the appropriate transport for that output or input. So we're going to go ahead and put down the smokestack. When you're putting things down, the little plug will show you if it's connected properly. So pay attention to that. Like right here, it's showing it's not connected, but here it's showing it's connected. If I turn it, you can see the arrows aren't lining up. So make sure you connect it in such a way that it's properly connected. All right, so now it wants me to assign trucks to the tree harvester. So I'm just going to click on the tree harvester here and just assign 2 trucks. You can see here, this goes for any building that has vehicles assigned to it. You'll see this for the mining control towers as well. But if it has trucks assigned to it, they'll show up as blue. Those are the ones that are assigned to the tree harvester or the building. All right, so start harvesting trees. That'll happen. Let's get a blast furnace down. So I'm going to go ahead. We're just going to put it right here next to the abandoned communication station, because that is where we're going to be getting the majority of our iron right now. So we're getting our iron scrap from here and also some concrete slabs as we deconstruct this, or slowly deconstruct this. And you'll see here, the first recipe we have in the blast furnace is using iron scrap plus coal that we're getting from the coal maker. Realistically, this is more than likely making charcoal, but the game just considers all of it coal. All right, so I'll take this time, a little bit of time here to kind of go over the building menus. Some of them are different, but generally speaking, they have pretty much the same buttons. So this is the number of workers that are assigned to this building. So in this case, we talk about the coal maker here. This button pauses or resumes that building. Any building that is paused, you won't see it yet because the game's paused. But any building that's paused returns the workers back to the pool here. So that's a good way if you're running low on workers. You can pause buildings to get some workers back. This is the priority for this building, so this affects the priority of the trucks filling up this building with wood or other products, but it also affects the priority, as you can see in the tooltip here, for worker assignment, electricity, and maintenance consumption. So this is really important to change this. The higher the number, the more priority it has, based on how integral it is to your factory or your industrial complex. These buttons here, this controls whether or not the trucks can import or export from this building. And it's set to say, or right now, the yellow is import or export only if the belts and pipes can't. You can see in the tooltip here, that also applies to if you're waiting for a conveyor belt to get built, the trucks will still import and export manually. You can override that by saying absolutely they can export regardless of if there's a belt or a pipe connected, and then also they cannot export. So you'll see me using that for certain builds. So here's a button for Unity. All the purple buttons are Unity based. This one doubles the output, and also more importantly, it ignores electricity requirements. So this is really good if you want, or if you're having issues with, electricity is really low, but I need, maintenance to continue being made. This is a good button for that. Here you can set recipes. So you see we only have one recipe selected right now, or one recipe unlocked, I should say. So we only have one there, but in other buildings we may have multiple. So we'll have multiple here. We'll have another one that uses iron ore once we unlock mining, for example. Excuse me. All right, so we got that built. We need metal casters. All right, so when you have a building selected as well, you can see the different hotkeys you can use down here. So R to rotate, F to mirror. Holding shift allows you to place multiple copies of a building when you're placing it down. Q and E is to raise and lower the item on the terrain. So we're gonna place. I'm just gonna place it right there. Then we'll place this one. You know, because the communication station's right there, I'll just place this one over here because I want to be able to connect up this line later on. So again, a little shortcut that I mentioned. Just click on the arrow, and this automatically gives you the molten channel to connect up. So again, click on the arrow, connect up. They'll remove this rock automatically. And then we need a smokestack here as well. Now I could have a smokestack here and then just run pipes from both of these, because you'll notice this only produces 18, this only produces 6, but the smokestacks can handle 60 every minute. So you could save a little bit of resources, and also make your factories look a little bit better too, by consolidating the smokestacks. They're pretty cheap as is. They only use 10 construction parts, so starting off I just connect them directly. Later on it'll probably look better if we kind of combine them, or have a centralized one and run lines to it. But for now we're good. So all right, so that's the first one. So I'm going to unpause here and let our trucks kind of. Oh, that's one thing I forgot to do. The harvesting tree part. I need to set what trees we want the harvester to harvest. I think we're going to go right here for now. All right. Yep, so you can see the trucks moving in here. They're taking construction parts from our dock or our shipyard, and they're moving to construct the buildings. All right, so normally I'll be running on 2 or 3 times speed here, just to have things move along a little bit quicker. What were you dropping off? Oh, I think that was the iron scrap. And then you see we got some coal. Do we have some coal in our shipyard? Yeah, we got a little bit. Okay. I thought for sure they were just gonna wait for this. Didn't know we started off with coal. So you can see here we're making iron, and while we're waiting on that, we'll go ahead and put down a farm just right over here. I totally did not put that on the line. Not that it matters. Everything I'm building right now is all temporary anyways, so it'll get torn down and remade several times over, I'm sure. All right, so we completed iron production. So you can see we completed it here, and it'll show you down at the bottom which rewards it's giving you for completing it. So we're just going to collect those. Anytime you press that, it's either going to put it in your shipyard, or if you have a storage container that has space, it'll throw it in there. So all right, so let's start up power production with a diesel generator. I'm just going to put it. No, I'm just going to put it down here because I know the diesel's sitting in our shipyard right now anyways. So I'm just going to stick it down there. Yeah, okay, that gives us some room. All right, So they'll grab diesel out of there. Alrighty, so they'll bring diesel from the shipyard here to the diesel generator. So while we were doing that, we got our first harvest of potatoes. So we'll collect the reward here. Alrighty, so now it wants us to build a research lab so we can start researching through. And like I said, down here it wants us to do the trading dock first. So I'll actually change this. Well, move all these, do the trading dock. Cancel that. Yep, do the trading dock. And then I'll queue up the maintenance and the basic diesel, because I know that that's the route that it's going to want us to take. So, under buildings here, we'll build a basic research lab. I'll just, it's a good place to put it. You know what, we'll just put it over, shoot. Yeah, we'll just put it right here. Like I said, we'll move it later anyways. Alright, so let the game keep going. We'll do a waste collection here as well, because it wants us to do that, as well as designate a dumping spot. My suggestion for the initial waste dumping spot is just to pick an empty spot here, and using the buttons down here, create a bit of a ramp. So go up to 7 here. And just kind of create a mound of waste. So that way later on you can dig it up and you can burn it when you get the eventual burning technology. Just clear those out. Alright, so that's good. We're researching the trading dock. Built the waste. And there's the construction. Actually, it wants me to do the construction first. Yep, let's do the construction first. So we'll cancel that. Start research on that. Then we'll do the trading dock. Then we'll go to diesel. Okay, cool. Yep, so we're starting to dump waste. So collect that reward. And then we'll just speed things up while we wait for the construction to go through. Alrighty, construction just completed. So now it wants us to build an assembler that we just unlocked, or an assembly that we just unlocked with that. So this is where our iron mine is going to be. I think I'm going to build our assemblers over here. Build an assembler. Make sure we set the construction part recipe, because that's what the quest is named. So it wants us to produce construction parts, and you see the trucks are grabbing all the ingredients and bringing all the ingredients over from all the sources. One thing I forgot to do earlier in here, if you don't select this keep empty here, trucks won't necessarily prioritize pulling out the cargo from the shipyard, and then you'll get this message here. So the ship can't unload to the shipyard while it's overloaded. So I normally just say keep empty and just use the default priority, just to make sure the trucks are focusing on that every once in a while. All right, we completed construction parts here, so we'll collect that reward. All right, building the trading dock. Normally just stick this over here. Oh, can we? Can we put it here? Oh, there we go. Yep. No ship comes to this. This is just same thing here. keep empty. This is just where, when you trade with the village on the world map, this is just where the cargo is deposited. It's like, for instance, here, this village here, these are the different things we can trade using Unity. And whatever we trade, so we trade the left item for the right item, and the right item will be dropped off at the trading dock here. Here in a minute, it's going to want us to trade. There's 2 ways to trade. Either you can go to the world map and you can click on the settlement that you want to trade with and trade that way. Or down here, there's a quick trade button on F3 where it just shows you all of the trade offers from all of the settlements that you've discovered. So you can quickly go in here and say, oh, so right here it wants us to purchase concrete slab with iron. So we'll go ahead and do that real quick. It costs us half a Unity point. Yep, and products have been delivered to your trading dock. So you'll see here that it just got dropped off. No ship arrived, but it magically got dropped off. All right, so now you can see that we're actually gaining 1.3 Unity every minute. So that's good. So our Unity refilled pretty quick there. All right, so we'll collect that reward. So now it wants us to build a maintenance depot, which is really important. So over here, you have your maintenance, and if you click on there, it shows you everything that's using maintenance currently. So our pickup trucks here, they're using about, just sitting idle, they're using about 0.4 maintenance per minute. You'll see the slash or the / there, and 2. That's how much it would be using at maximum. So while it's driving around, it's using 2 maintenance every minute. You can see it's also it's diesel amount here, it's fuel level. Right now we've got a good amount of diesel just sitting in here, so we're good with that for a little bit. But the maintenance, I think it started off at 300%, which is good because it does take you some time to get maintenance up and running. And if maintenance runs out, the trucks will break down and you'll have a pretty bad time. So let's go ahead and get our maintenance depot up. I'm going to stick it over here to be next to our, actually I'm going to stick it right here to be next to our assemblers, because it wants me to build mechanical parts here. And with the trading dock, we unlocked the unit storage. So we'll go ahead and place those down to help give us a little bit of a buffer for our machines to keep running. So right now we don't have transport belts or item belts to help with transporting, like say the iron sheets here, or the iron away from this machine into a unit storage. However, you can just butt these directly up to the machines, and they'll work that way too. So just starting off, you can just do that. That'll give us a little bit of a buffer so these machines can keep working, and we have a buffer. I'm going to do the same thing for our mechanical parts and our construction parts here as well. You'll see now that we have a diesel generator up and working. We've got a 800 kilowatt maximum capacity, and because our research is not researching right now, which we do need to research beacon next and vehicles and mining next as well. It'll have us do those in a second. But we've got a maximum capacity of 800 kilowatts with this diesel generator down here. Right now it's not currently being used, but now it is, because our research is researching at 40 kilowatts. All Alright, so our iron is being deposited there. Maintenance completed, so we'll complete that. We are producing maintenance now. You can see over here it's going up. That percentage is a direct representation of the global maintenance pool. So the way maintenance works, this depot is creating maintenance and then depositing it into this global pool. So it's not an item that sits in an item storage or a unit storage or anything like that. It just dumps it into the global maintenance. And that percentage over here on the right is a direct percent, is the same percentage here. So the global storage right now is 1320. And every minute this is producing 220 and dumping it in that storage. You can see here that we're only using, or the demand on maintenance is about 8 every minute. So this right now is way overkill for how much maintenance we're actually using. But you'll notice that this, we will get to a point where 220 is not enough, and we'll either need to build another basic maintenance depot or the upgraded regular maintenance depot, which does 480. So we'll get there. All right, so now it wants us to do vehicles and mining. It also wants me to, yep, so we don't have it yet. The iron recipe, it comes with the mining research, but that'll pop up in here, and then we just click it to select, like we do over in the assemblers. Just click it to select that recipe. If you have multiple recipes in here, we'll see it when I get the blast furnace. But if you have multiple recipes, you can drag these and order them, and it'll focus on whichever one's at the top. So just keep that in mind. All right. It does want us to build a beacon, though. I normally just put this. You can put this anywhere on the island. It doesn't limit where you put it. I just think it makes the most sense to have it by the water because it's a lighthouse. So I just put it right here next to the shipyard. And because we're saying, hey, more people come to our little island here, it wants us to upgrade our housing with one more housing unit, which each of these housing units holds 80 people. So that'll up our total housing capacity there. Yep, so you can see now we're at 240. And we're just waiting for the first refugees to arrive. Alright, so I'll speed along here and just wait for the vehicles and mining to get done. Alrighty, so we're done with that. So let's go through, build the vehicles depot. Again, I'm being kind of cautious where I place things just because I don't want to demolish things as much as possible. On the captain difficulty that we're playing on right now, we don't get the full deconstruction costs here. So we may get like 20 or 30 of those 40 construction components or construction parts back if we demolish this. Not a huge deal in the beginning, or not a huge deal later on, but right now it can be kind of an issue, especially if you're not producing any at a reasonable rate. It can be an issue. All right, so we're going to do an excavator, 2 trucks. That's what it wants us to do over here. I'll complete the population growth quest. And here's our first message saying new refugees have arrived. So our population went up to 105. So I'll clear that. We completed the vehicles and mining and the beacon research, which the vehicles and mining just gave us the vehicles depot and stuff. So. Alrighty, it wants us to place down a mine control tower. Oh, over here by the iron. So we will place that down over here. So the arrow, it doesn't matter really which way you place this, but starting off, if you don't want to have to immediately edit the area that the mine control tower is kind of focused on, face the arrow towards the minerals, because you see this is the area that the mine control tower controls. You can edit that area with the button here, but on first placing, the arrow kind of dictates where this initial zone is going to be. We are going to turn off, not that we're going to be dumping anything here, but just as a precaution, I'm going to turn off waste dumping. If I do select a dumping designation here, or later on when we get leveling, they can come in and dump and fix up some of the ramps and whatnot. All right. So our excavator is created. We're waiting on the last truck to be created, but in the meantime, I'll go ahead and assign the excavator and 2 pickups. Each excavator is going to require at least 2 pickups. And that's just so while one's being filled up and the other one can go back, drop off its load, and then there's hardly any downtime with the excavator. We need to place a sorting plant here for them to drop stuff off. I want to put it right there. I'll put it a little bit further down here. So we'll put it there. Alright, so ore sorting, excavator pickup. Set it to the mining destination. And then we'll set a designation here. So it looks like all the land around here is at level 4. So we'll just go ahead and dig into the mountain here. You can see with the layers command that there's multiple layers to these. It's really hard to see with the designations, actually. There we go. So you can see each one of these represents a layer down. And this pillar represents this 3x3 grid of larger designation area. So wherever the pillar is, there's a 3x3 area around it that this applies to. But each layer of this, so if we say, so like it's a bad example. So this one right here is at +9. There's areas around it that are higher, but this is at +9. So each one of these represents a level. So this is the top level, and then each one of these represents a level below that. So if this is at 9, this is 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, and then -1. So this level right here, even though we're mining in at 4, you'll see once we get in here that some of these go actually a lot deeper than just this 4 level. So we're going to clear out this level here, and as we're digging into the mountain will kind of fall down, the excavator will excavate it, so on and so forth. But later on, we're going to want to start building ramps down to collect all of this iron that's sitting beneath the surface. Oh, and it just gave us that alert there because we need to edit the area to include the little bit of mining designations that we put behind the control tower. There we go. So that's fixed. And then over here at the ore sorting, you have to tell it what products you want it to sort. So I know we're getting iron, and we're going to get some dirt and some rock as well. So that's what it's going to sort. You can set the outputs down here. So kind of got to close and reopen the window for it to reset. So A is iron ore here, B is dirt, C is rock. You can set these to have multiple on one output. There will be splitters and filters later on that you can use to filter out products. So if you have multiple things on there, you can filter those out. And this is one of the buildings that has some extra buttons on it, but they all have tooltips and and most of them are pretty self-explanatory. The tooltips are really helpful here, so just make sure you're reading all of the tooltips if you have any questions on how things function. Alrighty, and I'd say with that, we are pretty well on our way to a basic industrial complex. We've got some iron being mined. We've got some we're breaking down this communication station to make iron, making construction parts, mechanical parts, so on and so forth. There is one more thing. This becomes really important when you have a mining designation that has a lot of other things besides the ore that you're trying to mine. So like a lot of dirt, a lot of rock. You can click your excavators and you can tell it to prioritize mining spots that have the ore that you're looking for. So I normally set all of my excavators, especially early on, to prioritize this, unless I'm trying to have them, unless I assign an excavator to this to just build down like a ramp or something like that. I won't set it here just to make sure they're focusing on building that ramp and not collecting the iron, for example. All right, so with that, I will close out this episode and I will see you in the next one. Go ahead and collect this, where we'll pick off where we left off here. All right, thank you all for watching. Bye-bye.